it's the level of performance they get out of some of those so-called average players that puts them into a different level. And whoever's on the field there's got such a simple game plan, they all buy into it and they all do their job.
Thomas Waldron, 49 Premiership tries. One away from a little landmark. Ian Tempest in charge. Greg Garner negotiated 80 minutes at Kingston Park without having to fiddle for a card of either colour. Attention now shifts to Ian Tempest. 3 other games kicking off at the same time here in the Aviva Premiership this afternoon. Gloucester, Worcester, Harlequin, Sale, Northampton, Bristol, all significant games in their own right, and we will of course keep you back up to date with any points in those matches. But this is the centre of our attention as Tom Johnson doesn't take long to warm his hands. Back starting again in the Premiership. First start for him in over a year. New Year's Day 2016 against Northampton, and Tom Johnson was a Premiership starter once more. Sean Maitland, who's about to become a dad, as we heard from Hugo, takes the first big hit. Saracens, however, with possession, and the captain, Brad Barrett. This is Michael Rhodes, South African, who did the double with the club in his first season here last season. Wigglesworth back at scrum half today. Now Lazowski.
Well, I think straight away we've seen exactly where Saracens think they're going to get a foothold in this game, and it's through their forwards. When you look at the quality which they've got in their tight 5, regardless of the injuries, they're still a very powerful, adept unit.
Scott Brits wrestling up to halfway. Alex Good. That's a steepler. And Maitland and Lazowski had plenty of time to pair after that one. In the end, it was very, very sound defensive work from Gareth Steenson, who was under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, he often finds himself at the back of the pitch, and you've got to be capable of diffusing the Saracens' aerial threat. Did really well there, and I just like the organisation, what we're seeing here at the moment. They're not rushed, not under pressure, and a really good kick chase. That needs to be their hallmark for 80 minutes.
James Short with a quick tackle on his former teammate Alex Good. Jackson Ray, Jim Hamilton, his wingman. Once again, Steenson with the test, which wasn't quite so successful, but it didn't cost them anything.
Use it!
Been in play now for a couple of minutes since Ian Tempest blew his whistle to start this match, so an early test of the fitness of all these players. Jackson Ray once more. Brits continuing to pound away with the mallet down the middle. That's been spilt, however. The Chiefs get the chance by Will Chudley. Still to go on.
Saracens, wait!
Good.
Wait here.
Threading it down the line, and he may well have overdone that. And will come all the way back, and everyone will have a breather ahead of an Exeter offensive attacking scrum.
Yeah, unfortunate break there for Alex Good, but what I've learned playing on these 4G pitches, that if you do kick long, you have to kick at an angle, because the ball, so the ground is so hard that if it does continue the momentum, you put topspin on that ball can travel for a huge distance. I mean, the ball rolled about 40 metres. Either way, enough of the kicking, and back to a set piece on attack.
Time on, let's go.
Wasps against Leicester tomorrow, and this one right now offers the chance for the Premiership's top 2 to open up a significant gap as we stride into 2017.
This is one area that Saracens struggled last week, the scrum. Certainly the setup at times wasn't great. Barrington got caught a couple of times by Cole with a very low bind. He's on the other side as we look at this. He couldn't get his bind up on top of Cole's jersey, which meant he had no real purchase when the pressure came on. He ended up folding at the hips. I'm sure Saracens will have been working on their setup all week.
Mark McCall said to Sarah before the match, scrum has to be 10 times better than it was at Walford Road last weekend. Steenson off a solid base. Slade gets it to Knoll, who was outstanding a week ago, but he's not got much room to manoeuvre in initially. Good with the tackle. And now Waldron decides to hold on to it rather than go for the Hollywood pass to Johnson. This is Rimmer, and now Short. Oh, and Chudley on his own and threatening momentarily. Saracens are down a player. They're having to work this out defensively with just 14 men in the line, and Greg Holmes not far away. And Rimmer's there as well, and inevitably Thomas Waldrom's having a look, but the ball was dropped and the immediate threat dissipates.
A massive shame for Exeter there in their first visit into Saracens 22. You can see exactly the way they're playing. I think anywhere 40 metres out, they're obviously going to kick it, but once they get into the 22, they're going to go for broke. This is the break from Chudley. Steps Barrington actually twice in about 5 metres. Then it goes to the forwards power play, exactly everything you expect to see from Exeter. Unfortunately, comes up with nothing. A knock on at the break there, just as he goes to pick and go.
HIA, okay,
a promising start from Exeter Chiefs.
Please.
Ben.
Well, just looking at that break from Chudley, look at the work of the experienced Jeff Parling here, holding Maitland in when he's trying to get round the corner, just as enough to create the opportunity. That means Barrington's flying out, he gets wrong-footed back on the inside. There's the hold, sprinting to get out wrong-footed, but it just gets caught up, Chudley, as he tries to step him again.
The man who was down in the middle of all that from a defensive point of view is Marcelo Bosch, and the speed at which he's ambling towards the sofa suggests that that might be his match done in less than 5 minutes. He took a right old clattering.
Really good.
Certainly looks so. He's got so low. I know Nick East has been quite vocal about it. It's that low tackle when it's just head on to hit that bony part, Ben.
Which the point you were making on Rugby Tonight on Wednesday, that if we make everyone go lower, we're going to see a lot more head collisions with the bony parts of people's bodies. We're not going to see as many clashed heads, but we might not be solving the problem just by making people tackle lower.
White.
Well, there's an answer to Saracens' scrum problems last week. Just get the impression they might have had a rocket this week.
Carl Rimmer, who was picked out by the assistant referee on this near side, not driving straight. Only had a couple of starts in 2016. This is first in 2017.
Thank you. 5. Flatty on the line, take the line.
Yeah, it's good body height from Exeter on the tight head side. On the loose head side, Rimmer maybe just goes a little bit early, and he's very high, which means that Figelo can just drop underneath him, drive straight through. Give the referee no choice.
Insert's good.
Atoje, first line out. Flips it back to Jim Hamilton. Celebration from Carl Rimmer for the knock-on, and Exeter will have the scrum.
Well, that's one way you take away Saracens' area of threat, is actually stopping them at source. Leicester Tigers did that last week, but this is really good play in the line-out, isn't it, Ben?
Yeah, great play from Marrow in terms of the take, but it's the no-look pass to try and get that shift drive. Obviously worried that Marrow's going to get pulled over there. They're trying to shift the point of the drive, drag those white shirts in on Maro Itoje and create an opportunity further back, but just the mechanics of it not quite working.
You see from Exeter the way they're lining up, actually. If we can get some decent ball out of this, they are really tight. The last time they tried to get the ball wide out to Jack Noel, Marcelo Bosch had been the sacrificial lamb taking that tackle. And they're set up exactly the same again. Sam Hill, expect him to certainly test Nick Tompkins. If not, it gives Jack Noel that opportunity one-on-one.
Straight in.
We saw how good he was last week at Bath. You certainly would want to give him that space now.
Bind. Set.
Scrum that provided no great platform, but it was no great platform because Richard Barrington, playing his 100th game, was not scrummaging legally, according to the officials, and Chiefs have a penalty that's certainly within range, and Steenson decides that he's going to have a bash at them.
Yeah. Holmes was quite low on that last scrum. Barrington tries to get underneath him, but you just see he's almost hinged at the hip, and then he lifts his man, and there's the step out without moving far enough forward.
Around with it. Just keep your hips tight.
Barrington will say that the opportunity was there, he was entitled to do it, but you've got to make sure that you show the referee that the opposition are going backwards before you make any sort of movement.
Stevenson captain today, as he was for the Chiefs in that final at Twickenham. He doesn't lack for support. It's a still day here in North London. No solace to be offered via the elements. That's certainly a kick that, by Stevenson's high standards, he'd have expected to back.
Absolutely missed opportunity there, but you know, listen to Richard Baxter before, Rob Baxter, sorry, before the game. We're more focused on their performance more so than the result. And so far, 10 minutes into the game, they're playing exactly how they'd expect to.
Mark, he's entitled to leave him. You're inside the 22, Mark.
It's good.
Make sure you stay in.
His right boot inside the 22, and that meant that Tom Johnson had to leave him alone.
He's 10.
Swallowing the disappointment of being left out of the England squad this week. He's found comfort in familiar surroundings amongst his club mates.
Absolutely, and really good awareness from Alex Good. He plants himself really well, makes sure that right boot's within, plants it, calls that mark. Tom Johnson's work rate comes to no end, and a really good clearing kick. Expect Maritoja to put a huge amount of pressure on Exeter's line-up now.
Insert, stay clear, insert. It's 5.
Trying Luke Cowan-Dickey. Opportunity to make a difference from the off again today for the England hooker, Parling. And then Chudley with, I'm not quite sure that's exactly where he wanted that kick to go, but Noel has worked hard to make sure that it works for them, and this is Sam Hill, and now short, and Dolman working hard to try and keep up with the former Saracen.
Well, this is the thing about kicking. People might be frustrated and wondering why there's so much kicking in the game, but one good kick and a decent kick chase, and Exeter are now 30 yards away from Saracens' try line.
This is Ollie Atkins, Australian, in his second season with the club.
Thanks, Al.
Not started much in the Premiership recently. Oh, that is a high tackle.
Oh dear.
Come here, please. Stand.
Oh dear.
It's Brad Barrett.
And he knows, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Nick, you teed this game up perfectly, talking about we had no concerns, no effort yesterday. But this is it here, Jeff Parlin, really good carry. It's a swinging arm.
And Barrington coming in. Dear me.
They could both be in trouble now. I guess Barrington's only mitigating factor is that Brad is...
Let's set this up. Let's talk about...
We have to have a look at this, by the way.
What we've talked about in terms of what Ian Tempest will be looking at under the new redefined regulations, the sharpened regulations. Is it high? Is he out of control? Okay, how much force is there? If all of those go against Brad Barrett, then it's going to be a red card.
Well, the order's slightly different. Firstly, has there been foul play? Yes, there has. Is he out of control? I think you're right. I think he is out of control.
Okay, Steve,
let's go. There's quite a lot of force, particularly with Barrington. And then did it start high? Yes, it did. I think this could be a red card.
I'm sure you'll all be making up your own mind at home.
From that angle, it looks like the whip on the neck is caused by Barrett, but it's not. It's caused by the secondary collision when Barrett's already there.
So Ben, in terms of the first one, talking about
so
Brad Barrett,
I'm going to replay this one. I just want to freeze the screen for you.
Could they both be in trouble?
Yes, absolutely.
Barrett's definitely in trouble.
So I'm seeing a high tackle by Black 12.
That's the first thing, yes.
It is at force.
It is, but I want you also to see the actions. We've got to take into account the actions of one.
Okay.
I'm rolling it.
That starts high, doesn't it?
Looks to me,
square
Sean,
in his
like
head.
it's a shoulder.
He could get 2 red
directly
cards
to the
here.
head.
Correct.
Okay, so we've got 2 players involved. here from Saracens. I'm looking at the more serious offence now, which is black 1.
Correct.
Okay, can we just freeze it at the point of contact for me, please?
Yeah, we'll do that again.
It sounds like he's only going to punish one of them, but I think, it could potentially be a yellow card for Barrett and a red card for Barrington. That's quite forceful. But
is he out of control?
That's shoulder on head.
Okay, Sean, tell you what I'm seeing, okay? I'm seeing direct contact with the shoulder to the head of the Exeter player.
Correct.
I'm thinking red card for a black 1, unless anyone has anything different to add.
No, I agree with that.
Okay, thank you very much. Brad, I need 1 as well, please. I need Barrington as well, please. I need 1.
Well, there may well be Chiefs fans watching this, wondering...
Initial is high by yourself.
Yeah. Well, there
What is
two
then
reds.
clear on the footage is the shoulder direct to the head at force. That leaves me with a little option. This guy is sent from the field of play. It's a red card. Direct contact with the shoulder to the head of the player on the floor. That's a red card. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's the saddest of endings to Richard Barrington's 100th game for Saracens. He has been red carded within 10
Shoulder
minutes.
to the head.
And for the first time in 2017, the new redefined head-high regulations seen in all their glory. He's gone.
Well, that's exactly the point, Nick. There's no malice in that. He is obviously devastated. He's just as devastated that Jeff Parling is still lying prostrate on the field. But this is exactly what it's been brought in, to change people's behaviours, to change people from stepping in and assisting in a tackle when they're not in control and they can't guarantee they're going to hit low. I feel for Barrington, I really do, but there's nothing else the referee could have done there. And Barrett probably slightly fortunate because he does initially make contact as well.
I think you're absolutely right. Just a word on Ian Tempest in terms of his checklist and his checkpoint and the way in which he delivered it. He went through it and he just said, unfortunately, I've got no other option. He does have empathy with the players, but to the letter of the law, he had no other option. Correct decision.
Well, there are still two questions in my mind. One is,
What it is, Rick, yeah.
the health of Jeff Parling, which is uppermost. The other one is still the tackle from Brad Barrett, which I don't think's been penalised.
No, but he saw it, didn't he? Because he said the tackle of 1 is worse. So he changed his mind.
Does that excuse the tackle of Brad Barrett?
I don't think it does, and I think you're 100% right. That's what I was saying. I think Brad Barrett's been quite lucky. It's good to see Jeff Parling's arms moving there. Obviously, we think he was probably knocked out. The whip of the neck would have caused huge concern to the medics, so they're doing everything to make sure it's right. But that initial contact is definitely above a legal challenge and should have been looked at.
If Richard Barrington hadn't have been there,
Barrett would have, I think, at least got a yellow.
And so, for me, also, Barrington's mitigating factor was the initial contact from Brad Barrett. Hits him above shoulder height, which we're told is outlawed. Brad Barrett's lucky to still be on the pitch. What colour card? I'm not quite sure. For me, it should have been a yellow.
I think at times like this, it's always good to mention as well how professional the medics are in and around the Aviva Premiership. Absolutely everything being done. I know it looks very, very serious. It must be very concerning to those that hold Jeff Parling dear to them, but everything being done just in case. But lovely to see his knees moving and everything there.
he's only just come back. Jeff Parling, he's been away for 4 weeks after a knee problem.
Take the line for me, guys, please. We're going to be going for the post. Take the line.
Jeff Parling
Time on.
and Richard Barrington
Shoulder,
have left the
post
pitch, and it
goal.
looks like Richard Barrington's going to have a few words with Jeff Parling as he's taken off. Is he?
You got ball, please.
Oh, that's nice.
Ball.
Won't ease the pain, but it's good to see nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see how gutted he is. He's absolutely devastated at that. Ian Tempest dealt with it brilliantly. I thought Richard Barrington, actually, in terms of the way he went over to Jeff Parling there, that was a lovely touch, but a shame to his 100th appearance for Saracens.
If I was Rob Baxter, I would now be getting a message on to the players, to my own players, to say, do not, whatever you do, give the opportunity to the referee, because he will now be feeling if I've done it to one side, I have to do it to the other. So they have to be, excuse the pun when they're wearing the colour, whiter than white.
And at the end of all that, Exeter and Gareth Steenson take the lead. 12 minutes gone at Allianz Park. Saracens 0, Exeter 3.
Back to the rugby. The next 10 minutes for me mentally is going to be crucial for both teams. Exeter wanting a fast start and clearly had to take a huge amount of time and precaution and care with Jeff Parling, but the guys haven't touched the ball for 10 minutes. Got to get back to their basics, get back to your game plan and back on page.
Mitch Lees has come on for Jeff Parling. And I think, as we probably suspected, Nick Tompkins for Marcelo Bosch is now permanent. Marcelo Bosch, by the way, 33 today. It's not been the kind of day he'd want to remember either. And, a challenging start for Saracens. Ball was ripped away and Cowan Dickey finds Noel, who was electric last weekend at the Rec and putting pressure on Lazowski.
Just wonder whether that push of Jack Noel there might have contributed to the confusion at the back for Saracens. Noel will have felt that his line was being blocked.
2-2, line-out's formed. 2-2.
He's perfectly entitled. The amount of times it's frustrating. People try and get in your way. The one way you can get rid of them, shove them out of the way. But it's decision-making down here. Chase, this is the rip. Lovely work from Mitch Lees, who had an automatic impact. Lovely kick from Jack Noel, keeps it in field, and good chase.
And this is exactly where Exeter want to be. Their driving line out over the last few years has been superb, but it was the area that wasn't functioning at the beginning of the season, is definitely functioning now. They'll have to do it without the brains of Jeff Parling.
Well, now, hang on a minute here. TT Lamos-Atali is coming on for Sean Maitland, and that looks like a permanent change, doesn't it? Yeah,
they've lost Barrington, so they bring him on now before the driving maul. They would have had to bring him on for the next scrum anyway.
And Waldron around the front looking for his 50th, and oh my goodness, what a hit that was from Lazowski, who likes that badge of fly half tackler, and what a job he did there to stop Thomas Waldron in full sail.
He doesn't get enough credit for his defensive capabilities, but that's an outstanding hit, setting the standard. The rest of his pack got to follow now.
They go the other way. Steenson looking for Noel, who gathers brilliantly. Oh, he's having the rugby time of his life right now, Jack Noel. That is fantastic finishing.
It is outstanding finishing, Nick. You're absolutely right. But I tell you what, the mark of the confidence is the fact that he catches it one-handed. Didn't need to. Had plenty of time to catch it and take it, dot it down. But this is where it started. Tom Waldron, brilliant hit from Lazowski. But Exeter managed to recycle the numbers, get themselves round the corner. And how about this from a deft touch from Steenson? Catches it one hand like he's Michael Jordan and into the corner, automatically making that one-man advantage count. Let's not forget Sean Maitland's off the pitch, so they were down in numbers for backs. Sorry, Ben, I know you're just about to talk about that. But talk about being on form at the right time. He's had a horrid season of injuries. Outstanding last week, man of the match. 15 minutes into this game, brilliant impact.
Well, look at this. Quarter of an hour gone at Allianz Park. Saracens 0, Exeter 10.
Well, Ugo made the point. Chris Wiles, because the line out was on his side, is on the other side of the pitch. That means it's Wigglesworth who's out on the wing that we would have seen Wiles had Maitland not been off the pitch. Free shot coming, penalty was coming. Steenson knew it was a shot to nothing. Puts it over the top of the inexperienced defender. Try for Noel.
Hold on. Thank you, that's yours. Mark! Just hold it, you're recording on the first. Okay, just hold it. Come away. How many? 6.
50th Premiership appearance today for Jack Noel, and he's marked it with a try. One of the Premiership's performances of the season at the Rec. Last weekend he was all over the pitch. How many tries did he save? 2 or 3 at least, and he scored 1 here today.
Yeah, of course, for all his defensive work yesterday, it's great to see his attacking prowess right from the get-go.
Brilliant leadership from Saracens. Things not been working so well. Look at the kick chase ready to go if it's there. They decide to hit up instead.
Brad Barrett hitting up over the gain line. Where the line out first took place. This is Lazowski, who has stepped into that shirt so well this season, replacing Charlie Hodgson and doing a little bit more than shadowing Owen Farrell. Here goes Brits, hit back by Atkins, who arrived from Edinburgh to help replace Dean Mum last season. Barrett again, might be a little bit fortunate to be still with us, part of the challenge with Richard Barrington that put Jeff Parling to the ground.
Real lack of whip from Saracens because they're just going route 1. They realise this is where they need to drive the game. They need to get some momentum.
Chris Wiles trying to change the shape of the match. Lazowski, and this is Barrett.
Offside and back.
Brits again, off the head into the arms of Wigglesworth, and Sarah starting to swirl around in a neat way around the 22. Drop goal from Lazowski was never going to challenge the posts.
It's a good option from Lazowski, but I have to say, all they've done to Exeter is tip their hat and just said congratulations. What a really good defensive set. Nowhere to go, ran out of options, and as you mentioned, Ben, really narrow, really tight. The forwards look threatening on the gain line, but Exeter's defence is brilliant. However, they now get an opportunity off the 22.
Just wonder whether Lazowski thought advantage was being played there. Looked a little bit confused, didn't he? The referee said that it was Saracens that had pulled the Exeter man back into the breakdown.
Another brilliant chase there from Jack Noel, just getting his hands up, knocking the ball back, and then a lovely roller kick from Will Chudley.
Saracens hold, wait.
2 kicks, sent them 70 metres.
Busy Saturday afternoon in the Aviva Premiership. 3 other games, and we've already had lots of scores at Kingsholm. 2 tries, Johnny May and Matt Scott, and early problems for Worcester.
Pulling him back.
All square at the stoop.
Pulling back. Playing the man off the ball.
And Louis Picamole has scored a try for Northampton at the Gardens, but Mitch Eadie has just scored a try for Bristol, and what a run they're on at the moment. They're looking for what would be their 3rd win in a row, and they currently have a narrow lead against the Saints in the East Midlands.
Tempo.
This is it here.
Line out.
Maritoja just flies out of the line out. Silly penalty, just gets pulled back. Easy decision for Ian Tempest to give exactly what Saracens needed.
Maritoja, not before they're getting off the floor for that one.
Now a maul.
Jim Hamilton throwing his weight into this driving ball that Waldham and Co are doing their best to hold up. Mitch Lees is there as well. Lees, who came on for Jeff Parling.
Begin to use.
Now Wigglesworth having a look at what's doing down the blind side with Lazowski once more. Tackled by Atkins. Picked up by Good. Cowan Dickey in close proximity. Toje having a little scrape around on the floor. And the work of Toje in the end, doing enough to gum up the ball.
They're really making a mess of Saracens' ball at the moment. Lazowski looking for things down the blind side, getting over the advantage line, but Saracens don't seem to have that flow about them. The last couple of carries there, we're seeing Alex Good picking and going. That's not really within their script. That's not how they get themselves onto the front foot. Either way, they've managed to retain their ball. In fact, this welcome break, Scholt Brits is going down, a bit of a tension on his ankle. Could be a really good time for them to regroup, reassess where they are, and get themselves back in the game.
This will be one of 5 of this weekend's Premiership matches that we'll have completed by this evening. The best of the rugby from here. Kingston Park last night, Kingsholm and the Stoop, the Gardens all packaged up in the highlight show tonight. And the final Premiership game of the weekend before a month-long break for Europe. And the Anglo-Welshes tomorrow at the Ricoh. Wasps against Leicester. Big crowd expected in Coventry. Midway through what's been an eventful first half here at Allianz Park so far. Jack Noel with the try, but the headline so far made by Richard Barrington's red card for a head-high shoulder tackle on Jeff Parling, who had to be stretchered off.
White slipped, went to knee.
Well, we can have a chat with Alex Sanderson while they reset this scrum. Alex, I've got to start first with the red card. Any complaints about Richard Barrington first and foremost?
No, not at all. You know, it was a hot topic of discussion on Rugby Tonight about 10 days ago, which I was on. So it seems like karma's come back and bit me in the arse here. Yeah, I mean, we've seen it happen across the board and more of it, and it's all for the welfare of the players. So no complaints regards the red card. It's just about how we can control the damage limitations. And a lot of it is to the front, as you can see here. A lot of it's going to be won now, pack on pack, through them all, through the scrum as we've done here, and keep chipping away with points.
We're going to come back to Alex if we can, but we'll just see what happens here, and it doesn't quite run in the end for Chris Wiles. I just want to ask you about Brad Barrett. Is there any sense of relief that he wasn't at least yellow carded as well? Your view on that?
Yeah, actually, I think they both could have gone. And then that would have been a travesty. That would have killed the game. But by the letter of the law, I think Ian Tempest shows good discretion, good subjective discretion in making it still a competitive game, as it is at the moment.
What do you do? A man down. What's the game plan when you're playing the bulk of it with 14 now?
Well, I don't want to divulge too much, but as you can see, we've got 8 forwards in the park and 7 backs. So, as I say, it's going to be one up front. Now, Exeter have got a really good pack. They've got a good maul and the scrum's going well. But at the moment, we feel like we've got the edge up there. At that aside, it's about numbers in the front line. Exeter play with a lot of width and kicking a little bit high up the field. We're just going to have to defend our socks off for the next 60 minutes.
As ever, Alex, really appreciate your honesty. Thank you.
Cheers, thank you.
What a last scrum that was from Saracens. He's exactly right. You need other people to step up. They knew they had the penalty. Wigglesworth reacted quickly, threw that long ball over the top, knowing that it was a shot to nothing. They still had these 3 points in the bag.
Alex Lazowski finally has Saracens on the board after a fairly traumatic start to this match. Exeter still lead by 10 points to 3.
Well, interesting as well in terms of the substitution. 8 forwards, 7 backs. We saw them loosen the backfield there. Jack Noel really benefited off that. The work rate of Alex Good at the back has got to be so high. Him and Chris Wiles, they need to make sure that coverage is absolutely spot on. Expect plenty of kicking from Exeter.
Jackson Ray with the charge initially out of defence. Now Bricks.
Back you come! Hold him there, Custer, hold him there! Find on! Use it!
Takes his time. Finds touch. Really impressed with Alex Sanderson's honesty, Ben, not just with the Richard Barrington red, which really wasn't worth arguing about, but Brad Barrett as well, that sense of relief that he didn't get a red as well.
Yeah, because the coaches are as much in the dark as the rest of us in how this is going to be played out over the next few weeks. Well, that could easily have been 2 men gone for them. But I think he is right in that we do want to make sure that despite us looking after players and despite what's being said, we are still getting a contest for all the people that are turning up week in, week out and paying their money. They don't want to come and see 10 against 15.
Thank you.
It's a fascinating discussion. I'm sure there'll be Chiefs fans with a view on it.
Well, what they will want is a little bit of common sense as well when it's their turn, because undoubtedly there will be times at seasons when they're under scrutiny and they'll want the same dealing with it.
Noel under some pressure and taps it back into the arms of Hill on the bounce, and Hill making the absolute most of it, and he's weaving his way over the 10-metre line. Now Noel is burrowing away to win it back. Lees and Steenson to short, forever remembered in these parts for the try that eventually won the title for the first time in their history in that final against Leicester in 2011. As Johnson tries to cotton onto the kick through.
Yeah, really good play. Great to see Jeff Parlin rejoining us. Absolutely brilliant the way he came off the pitch here. I'll tell you what, Exeter weren't happy with Brad Barrett going off, but what do? They take him out, get him off the pitch as well.
It was a good tackle, it was low. One of those chop tackles, axe tackles that...
no arms.
No, well, no, maybe. Oh! Some work smoothly. Some work with a little bit of a tangle. And that was the latter. It, in the end, comes back on Saracens' side.
They're behind the ball.
Short, positioning himself underneath this one. Michael Rhodes very carefully making sure that he didn't challenge in mid-air. Titi Lamasateli, the USA international, wasn't far away from that. Lamasateli with us, by the way, if you've just joined us. There's a lot to catch up on, but Lamasateli is on for Sean Maitland. They've sacrificed a winger because Richard Barrington was red-carded in the 10th minute for an illegal high hit on Jeff Parlin. And Marcelo Bosch, who hurt his own head in a low tackle, celebrating his 33rd birthday, spending a little bit more time on the touchline than he would have wanted.
Thank you.
Mako underneath his hat that he needs. It's starting to rain a little bit here at Allianz Park.
Well, they're going to miss him even more now, aren't they? Because Barrington will probably have a little bit of time on the sidelines as a result of the red card.
I'll get you them. How many?
Missing his X Factor.
Five.
Or maybe he's just missing the X Factor. The knee injury, be interesting to see how much of the Six Nations he plays a part in, if any of it. Brother Billy as well, they can share knee injury stories at the moment.
Break away! Break away! No more. Ask you to break away. The ball is clearly at the back.
Obstruction. Too many players in front of the ball.
Ball is clearly.
But he said there was never a maul made.
Scrum. I did ask to break away.
One man in from Saracens. They go for a tackle. No one competes. In for a tackle there. Tackle's on the legs. The ball's not with the tackle player. Jim Hamilton doing a good job of hiding his 6'8" frame from the referee. But clearly he said to the man at the back, break away, and they didn't listen.
Set!
Really good game management from Saracens' pack in terms of their intelligence. Don't want to get to the arm wrestle, take away extra strong points.
Lazoskic and Barrett powering his way through. Actually flipped up by Lazowski to keep this going, and Rhodes. Wiles.
Tackle! All the way!
Lazowski. And this is Tompkins, still just 21. The England Saxons to South Africa last summer. He was the replacement for Bosch, incidentally. That, the first occasion, Saracens have punctured Exeter's 22 ball in hand, and here's a Toje.
Exeter need to get a bit tighter. This is going to be a power game from Saracens, and at the moment they're losing those collisions. Saracens making yards. It's going to be direct, it's going to be brute force. This isn't going to be pretty for Saracens, but at the moment it's looking fairly effective.
Lamasateli. Brits. For a lot of carrying work, as you'd expect. Waldron with some tackling. It's Kelly Brown, 34 now. One of the game's great men, making the most of these windows when they come along, starting opportunities. Stoltberger is amongst the replacements.
The Saracens' tactic is to run those big runners off the base, but try and give them the ball actually on the gain line, so they crash through that initial contact, get a bit of momentum, then get quick ball and do exactly the same again.
The only question then to Saracens that if this doesn't work, and if Exeter can repel their big forwards up front, what is their plan B?
Brits. Ball lost forward. Exeter scrum.
And equally, Hugo, what we were talking about before the game, can they manage their own energy reserves? They're so used to tiring other teams out by making them play that way. Can they
water off, please,
continue
guys, water off.
making the meters? It's a good carry from Brits. It's just that arm coming in from Atkins dislodges the ball.
Okay, sorry.
Right, let's update the other
Jack, have a word with him.
3 o'clock kickoffs. Jacob Rowan has got Gloucester's 3rd try against Worcester. It's not getting any easier for Carl Hogg's men. Denny Solomona, 3 tries now in 3 Premiership games for the Rugby League convert. Sale moving ahead at the Stoop. And a Jason Woodward penalty has stretched Bristol's lead at Franklin's Gardens. What a win would do for them there, coupled with a Worcester defeat perhaps at Kingsholm. Next Wednesday, by the way. Rugby tonight includes Bristol's Tom Varndale and Ulster's Ruan Pienaar. They're both with us in the studio in Stratford. Exeter against Ulster, one of our Champions Cup games next weekend. Next weekend, for the next fortnight, we're going all continental again with them. Champions Cup, Challenge Cup, and we'll be starting the previews, the build-up to that with Rugby tonight on Wednesday.
Well, this is the point you're making. They're 50 carries and 90 metres. It is so tight. They're not making a huge amount, and they're not even making the gain line 1 in 2 carries. Conversely, Exeter looking really fluid. Can they conserve the energy? Can they make it count? At the moment, you've got to say, Saracens a lot of huff and puff for not a lot of return. Only 3 points on the board.
Can't reward you for that. We need to be balanced. Balance.
Okay, Tizzy, let's go, mate. Come on, lads, let's go. Yes. Okay.
And this is the other thing which they're going to have to try and work out. Alex Good
Crouch
on his own right to the back of the pitch. You've got Henry Slade, you've got
They've dropped Kelly Brown out of the scrum to stand him on the right wing, but he's not dropped back as far as you might expect the right winger to. He looks a little bit uncomfortable.
Should go the other side with Steenson. He'll put some pressure if he can on Good. He's got a little bit of time, and Wiles was up in support as well. Steenson has an age to call for the mark.
Play on. He's put them on.
A little bit of a juggle from Lazowski.
Wingers
To
on,
the entertainment. Taken by Dolman. Rhodes with the tackle.
You see once again from Exeter only playing a couple of phases, patience in attack and going the aerial route once again. Got to be diligent with that game plan. It's working for them so far.
Lazowski hunted down by Johnson. Here's Good. Man of the match in the final. He's one of the try scorers, Chris Wiles. But it's not going the way the final went back end of last season. For the time being, Exeter remain in control of this.
But they're in control of everything. The tempo at the minute. Jack Knoll brilliant once again in defence. He's got Maritoji trying to clear him out, and he doesn't budge a moment.
Louis Pickemole scored his 2nd try for Northampton to put them back ahead against Bristol, 14-13 in a entertaining sounding game at the Gardens. All of these other matches kicking off at the same time as us, by the way, 3 o'clock. We're running a little bit behind because of the red card and the injury to Jeff Parling.
Well, that's it. It's brilliant from Jack, isn't it? Look how low he is. Maritoji trying to clear him out, and then just a bit of ill discipline. Charles Britt's frustrated, kicks the ball away and sent back 10 metres.
Atkins' highest first Premiership start for 9 months for the Australian. Chudley, increasingly loud chatter that the Australian scrum half Nick White's on his way from Montpellier next season, but for the time being Chudley's in that shirt, and that is hard defensive yakka from Saracens.
This game is going to be one up front if they are going to win. Alex Anderson gave us that direction, and what a massive effort from their pack there. Maritoji really getting in the midst of things. The last driving line Exeter had in their 22 resulted in a try. They weren't going to make that same mistake twice.
It's taken 35 minutes to execute the first turnover. Some of the pressure that they've been under.
Space.
Kelly Brown. Just his third Premiership start of the season. There can't be that many more ahead for him, you would have thought. Talk that he's contemplating a full-time career coaching. He's doing some sterling work with the academy here at the moment.
Crouch.
He's a good man to have around youngsters.
He's a tough boy. I played against him in England against Scotland and Murrayfield. He ran at me and he knocked me unconscious. He's a tough old boy.
Rich, it's there you want. It's there you want. Up on the mark.
Here we go.
Richard Wigglesworth saying, looking at the referee when he said it's there to play it if you want, as if to say, do you want to play it?
Up on the mark.
Talked a little bit about how Saracens are having to defend at the moment, Ben and Mandown.
We talk about the pendulum defence of the back three, and we were talking about Kelly Brown and where he was stood. But that last kick, he needs to realise, because good spots that Steenson's going to kick, he moves. Brown should be following back to cover that space in behind, but he's a little bit slow to react, and in the end Tompkins is going to spot there's no one there and backpedal himself. But also we saw close to the line a little bit of confusion about who's going to cover what, particularly with Exeter's try from Noel having been put over the top of Wigglesworth's head.
Chiefs forceful in that scrum, but it's Rhodes who comes away with it for Saracens. Wiles is calling for the little chip ahead, which he is given. But I'm entirely sure Rhodes would have wanted that to wander out, but they've done well from a potentially treacherous situation nonetheless.
Invaluable meters there. It's backing up one positive after another, and it's all coming through the pack once again. The strength of their maul defence into what was a really decent scrum. Lovely break from Rhodes, decent kick, and once again Exeter find themselves back in their half. For Exeter, they've got to remain and do the same as what they've done so far. Secure this ball, get rid of the ball, and put pressure on Saracens' back three.
Shortened Exeter line out with Thomas Waldron standing in the scrum half position, and he bolts onto it immediately and eventually smuggles it back for the scrum half, Chudley. Taken by Wiles. Starting again with Chris Ashton nursing a sore head after he collided with Tom Brady last weekend, and ball and players invited into touch.
Line's yours, black ball.
Chris Wiles does really well to secure that ball under a huge amount of pressure from Noel, but just as he was going into touch, releases the ball.
6.
And Jack Noel takes it into, and Saracens regain the ball. It's a completely different setup for them at the back of the pitch. And normally would have a number 8, they'd be able to secure it.
Oh, they've lost it, and this is Johnson and Cowan Dickey. Tackled by Barrett. First line-out loss in the match as Exeter look to press significant buttons again just before half-time, and Henry Slade recovered from a stinger to replace Ollie Devoto today. Here's Carl Rimmer. Nothing wrong with that Brad Barrett tackle, by the way. The TMO Sean Davies had a look at it in his own time, and on we go brilliantly with Armand, and he's striding for the line, and what a tackle that was, and Rhodes got back as well, and Rhodes and Wiles may well have done just enough, but what a moment.
I've got you.
Really, really good attack once again from Exeter.
Touch and try yes and no, please.
But how about the
So
tackle from Chris Wiles?
Yes, please.
The amount of work you've got to do in the back three, covering those yards, brilliant lasso tackle. Then Michael Rhodes comes in, looks to finish it. Let's look at the studs.
Well, Rhodes has done outstanding defensive work. Don Armand doesn't have control of that ball as he goes over the line.
Certainly doesn't. Picture perfect lasso tackle from Chris Wiles, and then Michael Rhodes comes in, targets the ball, targets his hands.
Sean, this one's going to be on you, mate.
Does Rhodes knock that ball backwards?
Yeah, it's going to be
This side of the ball. So it's not taking over.
Okay.
What about the
Tempo?
contact with the head as well?
Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, he lost control of the ball, so it's a knock-on.
Okay, so no try, scrum black.
Correct.
No try? Knock on.
There are so many extra questions that we're having to ask at the moment. All we really need to know right now is that Don Armand was inches away from scoring Chiefs' second try.
Just wonder whether there was a ball back on the inside. He chose to go himself. Nearly got there. Was there an opportunity for an easy ball back inside where that flailing, desperate cover was coming from?
Wait! He didn't obstruct.
30 seconds before Saracens can head to the hutch and just regroup. Ben,
just looking at where the break was made, Rhodes obviously made a fantastic tackle, but it's him that makes too big a gap for his inside man, Figelow. He hasn't got the pace to get across. Rhodes turns his shoulders early, and that's the ball back inside that potentially could have been on. Would have been a very accurate pass that needed making.
Run out taken by Atkins. Once again, Exeter looking for the last word before the break. This is Knoll. He goes around the tackle of Figallo. Waldron. Brits flying in. Hamilton tries to hold him up. Cowan-Dickey. Atkins running in support.
Saracens need to get numbers round the corner because Short's wide for a crossfield kick again. He's having to... Wiles is having to go tight in because there aren't numbers round the corner.
Reminder that Sean Maitland has been sacrificed because of the red card, so they're a man down now in all of these defensive sets. They're having to compress but also be aware of what's happening out wide, and Short's crying for it. He's in total isolation on this left-hand side, but Wiles has seen it, and Saracens have the penalty, and they have seen off the threat at the end of this first half.
Saracens' defence has really stepped up another level, but Exeter, in terms of identification of where the space is, they've missed a couple of tricks there. One dropped ball, one lack of accuracy, and Saracens will be thrilled to be heading into the sheds where they can regroup, only 7 points down.
What a 40 minutes. One red card, the first since the new regulations were introduced at the start of the year. Richard Barrington sent off after 10 minutes. It might well have been 2 red cards, but Bradbury last year, when Schalk Brits was shown a red card against Gloucester, they played 51 minutes that day, Shaun of Brits, and they went on to win. So that's the challenge for Exeter. We've all seen it over the last couple of months. England against Argentina. Playing against 14 doesn't always necessarily guarantee that you're going to win the match again.
It most definitely doesn't. But the onus is now on Exeter. For me, they've got to play territory. They've got to find the space at the back of the pitch, because Alex Goode out there looks fairly isolated.
First run for Jackson Ray. Contributed to Saracens half a dozen tries in the reverse fixture back at Sandy Park in September. He was the man of the match that day.
Wrong side, delaying the ball, it's on top of the ball.
It's an entirely different contest this afternoon.
Certainly is. Exeter, soft penalty at the start from Luke Cowan-Dickey. Exactly everything Saracens need just to be able to relieve that pressure and get out of their half efficiently. This is from Cowan-Dickey, just gets himself on the wrong side, makes no effort to get out, and when he does, you can see the efforts of Jackson Ray, just to point it out to Ian Tempest. Soft penalty, simple penalty.
Advantage 6, jumping across the line.
Mike Rhodes was the highest for Saracens, and Don Armand was jumping across the line. You'll have heard Ian Tempest, the referee, tell us. Yellow line, the gain line. I'm sure you've worked that out by now. We will come back for the penalty.
6 across the line. Offside.
Across the line, I think. A little bit unfortunate not to be further up the field, because Holmes changed his mind at the back. There's Armand finding himself on the wrong side.
You're in the space between the jumper and the lifter, affecting the setup.
He might wonder how he's supposed to challenge for the ball in that situation, Ben. It's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, thank you.
Well, the referee will say don't jump across the line, go straight up in the air. Sometimes difficult.
6, no men in front.
Probably mean he's nowhere near the ball.
Yeah.
Luke, stay in, yeah.
Anyway, that's a debate for another day. Let's watch the rugby.
Gareth, we're outside as well, okay? Line out outside.
Scott Britts now with them and attacking through on the 22. And Jamie George, part of a line-out operation that's running 94% this season. And here's Ray, showing real determination to take on Waldron, picked up by Rhodes. A slip from Juan Fagallo, not from Atoje, picked up again by Britts. The 14 men showing some resolve here. Rhodes again. Mitch Lee's coming in.
Real simple approach from Saracens, fairly effective up until that point. Exeter just can't be backing up these penalties, got to show some integrity defensively, make those hits, and poach when the opportunity shows itself.
Fagallo was wrapped up by Mitch Lees.
3 is now the wrong side, scrum.
And net result is Chiefs ball, Chiefs scrum.
Almost like watching it in reverse, isn't it? We'd be expecting the Chiefs to hammer the Saracens line and the Saracens defence to hold firm. Really good little breakout from Ray, spotting an opportunity to get momentum. Then a quick clear out, the ball's there, possibly a little bit too long before Rhodes picks it up. But here, there's the sneaked ball from Mitch Lees.
Titi Lamosateli, one of the question of sport moments where we're all having to turn our heads upside down to see who it was.
Well, they'll hope he's okay, won't they? Because having lost Barrington, not sure whether Vincent Cott can play loose head, but they don't want to be getting short of numbers. We saw Bath losing all their props and having to go to uncontested scrums, which meant they lost a man off the field.
This is where Exeter are really blessed with kickers. Steenson on the right, Henry Slade on the left, and it just allows them to be able to split the pitch and get a lot of purchase. You can see it. Lovely left boot there, depending which way the scrum goes. The Saracens are in a bit of trouble. You can see Alice Good at the top of the pitch as well, completely isolated. Really good options for Exeter.
Solid platform as well.
Tom, hold, Tom!
And it was Slade with his left boot on the left-hand side who clears long into the arms of Alex
23!
Good.
Out!
Tried late on at Twickenham last night. Really quelled the Chiefs' fight back. Well taken by Atoje, and again via
in the 10.
Barrett and Britts.
Offside within the 10.
Saracens were building, but Atoje was offside.
I think we might have an HIA here. Scott Britts carrying the ball, concerned about
the
player that tackled him.
The 10 metres for the ball lightened. 4.
Penalty going against Maro Atoje, not retreating out of the 10 metres.
Head injury. Jack,
with this difficulty when returning, Alex Good having to either kick that ball a little bit longer, or the forward certainly got to work harder out of that zone, because Good is completely isolated at the back.
Well, another one, Ugo, of the defender dropping as low as he can and catching the hip this time, Ollie Atkins. It is a concern, isn't it, Ugo?
Yeah, definitely. Everyone is trying to get that much lower. That's the second hit, Marcelo Bosch, in the first half. Second one there, just the head colliding with the hip.
Correct.
And we are protecting the head.
Latest scores from the 3 o'clock kickoffs, 3 of them around the Aviva Premiership. Billy Burns' penalty has extended Gloucester's lead. They've got 3 tries so far against the Warriors at Kingsholm. And, Charlie Walker and Tim Sweel with the tries for Quins. Denny Solomona with another for Sale as he takes the step from league to union. And Tom Wood has scored Saints' latest try. Bristol were ahead in that match, but 21-13 to Saints.
We've got on the screen is outside.
Well, this is what we're talking about there, as players are trying to get low, and it's more probably a concern for the bigger guys that probably don't have that flexibility to be able to get down there, sustain it, drive, and not hit up, but hitting straight through.
I think the referee's asked to look at it to see whether it is an HIA or whether the player needs to be removed permanently. and he's decided that there was suspicion that he might have been lost consciousness. So that's the last we'll see of Ollie Atkins.
So started many in the Premiership over the last 9 months. This is his first in that period. And Dave Dennis, another Australian's on for him.
Well, it makes it tough for the Chiefs now. They've lost their two best line-out jumpers. 2 concussion or potential concussion. That means now you've got Mitch Lees, Dave Dennis. It's a fairly formidable line-out. That's a good start, though.
Tom Johnson starting a Premiership match for the first time since New Year's Day last year. Just his 8th in 3 seasons, and here he is again, relishing the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Exeter getting on the front foot early doors of Luke Cowan-Dickey, making easy yards, going right through the guts of Saracens at the moment. For me, I think they need to split the pitch. Get Steenson one side,
Leave it wide.
And they've turned the ball over. Wasting these valuable opportunities in Saracens 22.
Wigglesworth with the hefty clearance, bounces amongst the water bottles.
Ben, how quickly do you think the forwards can change their mindset in terms of going through Saracens and the backs actually taking charge and looking at the space at the back of the pitch?
I think they need to take a leaf from Saracens' book and get to that more direct style. I think perhaps when someone leaves the field, sometimes you think it's just going to happen, but Exeter at their best, or when they force the issue, they get that momentum, exactly as we've seen Saracens do at the end of the first half.
Noel's got his eye on this one, so has Good. Noel managed to flick it back, in fact it came off the arms of Good, and now Chudley's herring after this one, and Wigglesworth will be aware of the danger, and he might have let it run all the way through, but he couldn't take that risk and decided to dab it down for the dropout 22, the Sarri scrum half. Now Saracens preparing to make a change. Size 19, just in case you were wondering, and Will Skelton preparing to come on. Just 2 and a bit games left now on his short-term deal. He'll be heading back to Australia after the Champions Cup over the next fortnight or so. Noel is wrapped up by Ray. Waldron running into Brits.
Yeah, no offside, ball's out.
Chudley. Wiles again positioning himself once again.
Backwards,
Noel
all
got
backwards.
there. This time it's still Chiefs ball.
Really good technique from Knowles, not actually looking to catch the ball at all, but knock it back. But Exeter are actually reacting really well to him, hence why they've got the ball.
In the arms of Thomas Waldron. Up to 7 Premiership tries. Christian Wade just ahead of him, top of the tree. Wade with a brilliant holiday period. And this time it's Saracens starting to add to their turnovers, and Schalk Brits at the bottom of that to frustrate Carl Rimmer.
Some of the quality of the carrying from the Chiefs forwards just isn't good enough. They need their Rimmer to stay on his feet a bit longer, particularly when you're running into someone like Schalk Brits, who everyone knows is like an extra back rower when it comes to turning ball over. You can't just flop to the floor easily when you've run away from your support and allow him to show clear release and latch back onto the ball. Got to try and make him go on the floor as well.
So Vincent Cock is preparing to come on the Springbok as well.
Change. Time off. 3 black. Change. Time off. 1 and 3 changes. 1 and 3 white.
So here are the changes, and Exeter are making a couple of them. Ben Moon and Harry Williams, a couple of props. Taking over from Carl Rimmer and Greg Holmes, and Juan Fagala, the end of his 50th appearance for the club, and he's replaced by Vincent Cock, South African, who's at the start of his Saracens career. He was feeling a bit poorly ahead of the Leicester game, but he's right as rain now, and on to add to this 14-man effort.
He was just getting some treatment, Figaro. He's now going to have to keep warm, because we could see him have to come back onto the field if anything happens to one of the other 2 props.
Same all, same all.
Jackson Ray shuffling it back to Kelly Brown. Jim Hamilton, and you can see how much ground they've made.
1-9 backwards.
Hammer away just outside the 22. Hamilton at the prow of the shipper, a bearded prow, and Wigglesworth an inviting chip over the top, and the defence that needed to be sharp was sharp, and it was Slade who clears long to Good. Wild is offering himself 25-30 metres away on the other side of the pitch, and Good angling towards him slowly.
Such a well-balanced runner, so hard to get a decent shot at, and he's got his Saracens team right on the front foot.
And Rhodes is chasing this.
Oh, that was directly out, it was touched.
No, it wasn't, it was taken in by Black.
Sorry. Line out.
It was Rhodes who took it out of play, so it'll be an Exeter line out.
Really good combination. Alex Good just spotting a one-on-one opportunity, getting Saracens on the front foot, getting to the halfway line, and the trusty left peg of Richard Wigglesworth just rolls that ball into the corner.
Here comes little Will.
Open, guys.
6'8", 22 stones, and he's got a couple of brothers who are bigger. He's the little brother, Hughes.
I heard he's got a teenager brother, 7 foot tall. I was down pitchside next to him. Oh my word, he's a huge mountain of a man.
Same line out, call.
That was the last action for Mike Rhodes.
Time on.
Skulbrits giving way also to Jamie George. That wasn't straight.
Outside line. Option. What's wrong? Done. Outside line.
Let's see how not straight it was. First line out loss as they picked out Don Armand at the front, but not giving Maro Itoje and co the opportunity to challenge legally for the ball. 50 minutes gone, no addition to the half-time score. Jack Knowles tried the big difference, the big story, the sending off of Richard Barrington for a head-high tackle on Jeff Parling, connecting with his shoulder, sent off after 10 minutes.
Wide.
Angle. Walk around. Post. Walking around.
Penalty that
angle.
Exeter's scrum has conceded in this match.
Thanks, Paul.
It's not a team, Saracens, who take the easy way out, who look for an excuse to lose a game.
It's not. You see those Exeter players just backing out of that, hips going around to the right. Just watching this, just showing how much Saracens telegraph this. It allows Slade to read it. Lazowski in particular, it's obvious what's going to happen. Slade reads it well. They're usually so good on detail, Saracens, just getting that little bit of disguise into things.
And by the way, that Northampton and Gloucester have both secured try bonus points. We'll update the scores on the other 3 o'clock kickoffs once we've watched Alex Lazowski. They're still there, down to 14 men or not. You've got to work hard to put them on the canvas. Still in there punching. Saracens 6, Exeter 10. A little under half an hour left in this contest.
Aaron Farrell, after the game last week against Leicester, said they haven't been at their best. But it's the hallmark of championship or champion side when they get in the wins, and they've continued to do that. They need all the heart as well as the technical ability to win today.
And Nick Tompkins, who came on to the pitch when Marcelo Bosch left early on, is replaced himself now by Duncan Taylor, who's playing his first game in 4 months after an ankle problem. As you can see, Jack Yendall is Chiefs' new hooker. Luke Cowan-Dick has done his job this afternoon. So confirmation of the latest scores from the other 3 o'clock games. John Arfoa Kiwi World Cup winner, has secured the 4th try and the bonus point score. Byron McGuigan has pulled one back for Sale. It remains in the balance at the stoop. And what's happening at the Gardens? Goodness me. Bristol have pulled themselves back into it as they look for a 3rd win in a row. JJ Hanrahan got the bonus point try, but Jason Woodward has just got one back for Bristol, and it's all square in the 3 o'clock kickoff in the East Midlands. Will Skelton involving himself to good and early effect, Hughes.
An immediate impact. It's going to be a massive effort from the forward pack, and when you've got someone like Will Skelton, international quality, with all of his weight, you certainly shore up your defence.
Wiles underneath it confidently and makes 4 or 5 hard-earned metres. Skelton's waiting for it. Covers 4 or 5 metres with one stride.
Just look at the amount of players that he attracts. He's so big. It gives Richard Wigglesworth once again a really good platform for Saracens to chase.
Play on.
Tom Johnson on the floor, snaffling this one for the Chiefs. Here goes Mitch Lees, who came on to replace poor old Jeff Parling, who took the clattering after 10 minutes. Parling's down on the touchline, enjoying this match now as a spectator. Mark taken by Alex Good.
Exeter so far this half, they haven't fired a single shot. 15 minutes, they've been inaccurate, they've given away too many penalties, they're actually not playing in the right areas, and when they have kicked, just not been accurate enough, not given their forwards or their backs an opportunity to really make an impact on the scoreboard. And since the red card, it's Saracens who scored 6 points and looking fairly comfortable down to 14 men.
Let's keep this gap, okay?
Saracens currently 2nd in the table, a point behind Wasps, who play Leicester tomorrow. Exeter right now 7 points adrift of Sarries as we embark on the 2nd half of this Aviva Premiership season. Jeff Yendall picking out Don Armand. Dave Ewers, by the way, has a knee injury that will keep him out for a while, so Don Armand will be busy over the next few weeks.
19 black.
Penalty against Skelton. Sam Hill. What a Lazowski again.
On me.
The statistics show that Alex Lazowski does actually miss 1 or 2 tackles. He's at the top of the missed list, but when he hits, he hits hard.
It's the same as Owen Farrell in previous seasons. Because they go for that big shot, because Saracens don't mind them bouncing them back into the big forwards, occasionally they'll miss, but pinballing the player back towards where the big guns are. But what a hit that was.
We've talked about it before. He's always seen it as a little badge of honour because he's not the biggest bloke in the world. He knows that people are going to go down his channel, Hugo, and he's saying, hang on, I'm the sheriff in town. I decide who comes into my saloon.
Fully locked and loaded. Every fly half gets targeted, but you've got to be ready, as you've said there. But for as good as he is going forward, he doesn't shirk any responsibility in defence. 2 fantastic hits so far today.
Yendall fires it low and flat to Johnson. It was Toje who was up illegally.
Have a look at this. He disagrees. He says he's going for the ball
in the air.
And this is that grey area, isn't it? You've got to allow a competition, and if 2 hands are going towards the same ball, you are going to touch a little bit. It's whether they release straight away afterwards.
Contact in the air.
Where's his hand's initial point? It's in between Johnson's hands, which dislodges the ball. I think that's really harsh. If you're going to allow a competition in the air,
The back you go.
Oh, for me, that's a tough penalty. It's not like he's pulled. That rule's to stop people pulling you out of the lineup, pulling you out of the air. That is if that was 2 players going for a high ball, you'd say absolutely nothing wrong with that. But it did show a little bit of frailty in Exeter's line-out. There was a bit of confusion, a slow throw that allowed Maro Itoje to get into position.
There's an opportunity just to ease the pressure a little bit on Exeter. we can have a chat with Rob Baxter. First question, Rob, should you be playing against 13 players right now, do you think? Should Brad Barrett have been shown a red as well?
Oh, I don't want to get dragged into that. I mean, it is one of those interesting ones. You wonder, you know, you look at it, and under the new tackle directives, that's potentially too high. It's not something for me to comment on now, really. I'm more concerned that we need to do a little bit more than we're doing at the moment. It's feeling a little bit to me like, I know it sounds a little bit like slow death, that we're actually going to watch Saracens manage their way, you know, really well into good positions, and we've got to. I just want to see us be a bit more decisive and a bit more direct. I'd like to see us go out and win the game. That doesn't mean, you know, running from silly positions, because you can't do that against Saracens. But I think there's more we can do to contribute to giving ourselves a better opportunity to win this game, you know, and take things more into our own hands.
What kind of messages are you trying to get down onto the pitch at the moment?
Well, we're trying to get messages down that, you know, we've kicked away a couple of bits of ball in good territorial positions. I think we need to take them on a little bit more and a little bit harder with our forwards. And we're actually kind of letting their pack of forwards start to dictate a bit too much to us. And you know, the start of the first half just showed some horrendous discipline, didn't it? We rolled into a tackle on the restart, then we gave away a penalty in the next line out. You know, we can do things that, you know, bring this game back into our control, and we've got to decide to do that.
All right, Rob, that's great. Thanks for your time. I'll let you go. Thank you.
He's got such a good point. I think whenever you come away from home, you've got to be the aggressor, and they're not being that at the moment.
Oh, this is Wiles trying to cotton on to the kick through, and he wasn't far away, and it might yet work for Lazowski, and in the end it needed very sharp work from Will Chudley.
No, she was a knock-on first.
Well, I guess this is the point which Rob Baxter's making at the moment. Saracens, it's amazing what can happen when you lose a man, and they look to be galvanised, they look to be the guys on the front foot. It shouldn't be that way. You've got to credit the spirit of Saracens.
Just checking to see if there was
But just look at the actions of this player, the black player
here. Quite deliberate from Chris Wiles.
It's sloppy, but you can see what he's trying to do. He's clearly trying to get it back.
See that tempo?
So that's off Black, isn't it?
Yeah, but that is a deliberate knock-on.
Why would he want to deliberately knock the ball off?
Okay.
Have you got a wider angle of that, Sean, for me?
Here you go.
Thanks, man.
Sean Davies, the television match official in our truck in the car park.
Okay. Tempo.
Sean, so what you're telling me, that's deliberate, yeah?
That is a deliberate slap in midfield.
Yeah,
that's correct.
So that's a penalty. It's a deliberate knock-on.
Yeah.
Deliberate knock-on.
Let's go back to that Rob Baxter interview, and the phrase he used. He's worrying that the Chiefs at the moment are engaging in a bit of a slow death, which was a graphic illustration of how this match is unfolding at the moment.
Yeah, well, Saracens look the team with the energy. Exeter haven't really proposed a huge amount of anything, to be fair, and he just wants to see more fight, more shots fired from his team.
Ben, the work of Alex Good trying to pull this round.
Just the vision of the bloke. You know, he's such a good... He's played a lot of 10. Watch here. He sees Noel is going to step in and try and make the hit. Man and ball on Jackson Ray. Realises the space out wide, just threads it through. That sits up slightly differently. That's a try. But to have that vision of your second playmaker coming into the line from the back, invaluable to Saracens.
And now they have ball that they might not have been expecting to work with, and Skelton battering through the barn door, and Ray will endeavour to follow suit. Skoltberger has come on for Kelly Brown in the meantime. Not a replacement designed to weaken Saracens. And now Lazowski, the fast feet. They've got men on the left-hand side. Jamie George is one of them. Cuts back in field. Felt that Wiles was just a little bit exposed. So they reload with a toe J, and now Barrett suddenly upping the intensity, as you'd expect with the likes of Berger.
Absolutely, forwards really takes it. Will Skelton be prominent once again, handing people off, swatting them like flies. This is the momentum they need to get themselves back into the game. But Exeter need to remain disciplined, because the closer this gets, the more likely it's to be a Saracens game. Mentally, you just get that feeling they're a bit stronger.
What a test of the champions' resolve this is. What a test of the gumption of last season's beaten finalists. Can they close out a match they really ought to be winning with a one-man advantage for so long, but they're under so much pressure here now.
Love the way Wigglesworth's letting the forwards run it until he wants to take over.
Lazowski, Wiles chasing this. The bounce of the ball will be important, and it is not Sarries friendly.
Saracens, the last couple of bits of play they've had in Exeter's half, they look most likely to score at the minute. They're the ones of the energy. Exeter have gone quickly. This game's unravelling.
Not a chance.
Just talking about that Wigglesworth work. He's there at every breakdown, but if the forward's in front of him, he's letting them do the passing, which means that when he's got the vision to see what's on, he can make that pass to Lazowski, who finds the space in the corner of Noel again stepping in.
Kevin Sorrell in the middle of that, leading the despair.
Is he on?
A concern for Will Chudley.
How many? 5, 25.
Meantime, Chiefs are making another change. Henry Slade replaced by Ian Whitton.
Time on, 5 man.
Again making a complete nuisance of himself. The ball's been lost forward, and what may have been something very spectacular from a line-out steal ends up being nothing more than a Chiefs scrum.
And just in terms of consistency, I think this is worse than the one Itoje gets pinged for, though he does get a lot of the ball this time. But equally, it's Exeter under pressure. They haven't got either of their two line-out generals. It's just slowed all their movements, just a little bit of hesitancy, and it plays right into the hands of someone as bright as that man.
It's funny, the Saracens are kind of doing everything you would coach them not to do when you're down to 14 men. You'd want to slow the game down. Saracens have upped the tempo. You can hear what the crowd absolutely think about it. They're really being their 16th man today. Exeter look completely rattled and a little bit rudderless.
Maro Itoje actually got more of Don Armand's arm there.
I think he got a bit more of the ball, which is probably what swayed the referee to thinking. But I just think neither of them are. You want one of the ethoses of rugby is that we will have a competition at everything, and if you're going to compete in the air, occasionally you're going to touch each other.
Gloucester are running away with it at Kingsholm. Another try for Matt Scott, who's having a fabulous season. He's up to 11 now try-wise, and are being put to bed in front of the shed this afternoon.
Scott having a great season, overlooked by Scotland in the autumn. With that kind of form, you say he's got to have a shout in the Six Nations.
Scott with 8 in the Premiership now. He's pulled alongside Christian Wade. He'll be playing for Wasps against Leicester tomorrow with us here on BT Sport. The ball's gone loose, and Waldron had to get his dustpan and brush out.
Use it!
Tom Johnson's still with us. First Premiership start for over a year. He will be going the distance. He will be going the distance because Lees and Dennis are both on.
Must be the other way. First action,
his
other way.
Work on the floor draws the penalty from a not entirely convinced Skulkberger.
Welcome relief for Exeter. Been under pressure. A huge amount have had to do a lot of defending, which would have taken out their legs. They've just got to be accurate with this bit of ball that they get now.
Young Jack Maunder, still only 19, preparing to come on to take the place of Will Chudley. Maunder made his Premiership debut this season. His dad Andy, Chiefs fans of old may remember from the 1990s, used to have a party piece when he came onto the pitch that involved a forward roll.
How many?
Young Jack,
6.
the better part of Valor, decides that it's probably easier just to run on.
I used to have a similar one. It involved a sausage roll.
Ball. No legs! Off his legs! Off his legs!
15 minutes to...
Once man!
It increasingly feels like hold on for the Chiefs, which is extraordinary given that they played the bulk of this match with an extra man.
He's always bound.
This is looking more likely for them. Hill.
Better momentum from that drive for the Chiefs.
Waldron. Held on to by Berger. Waldron now a dozen carries, and look how far they've gone. That golden line, the yellow line, the gain line. Yeah, they took the line out initially. St Cock up very quickly. Here's Dave Dennis.
Just to make matters worse for Saracens, Brad Barrett, their defensive captain, he looks like in a bit of trouble. He's down, just getting himself back onto the wing out there. That's certainly got to be a place where you got to target them.
He took a bang to the head and he's shrugging off the attentions of the medics for the time being. But I think they're quite keen to get Brad Barrett off. He understandably quite keen not to.
Tackle!
They've got some defensive work to do here.
Back.
Maunder to Noel. He's done so well. He's done so well to create that kind of momentum, Hugo.
Great low centre of gravity, always able just to stay on his feet and beat that first defender. Those small inches, that momentum it gives Exeter just makes it easy to reload in attack.
Three black Saracens shirts trying to disrupt this white tide. Tom Johnson having to work hard to get that ball down, but he does in the end, and this is Waldron. Maunder to Yendall, club captain this season. Maunder once more, who's been captaining the Braves, the A-team this season, and it's still insistent Saracens defence.
The work rate of Wigglesworth and Alex Good having to cover for that lack of defender at the back. They are literally sprinting from side to side in the pitch, trying to cover all those over-the-top kicks.
And Saracens have won it back. Oh, how hard they work. Good into the arms of Short, who will happily fire it back at them over halfway. Chris Wiles was doing what he could on the floor.
Exeter are playing a huge amount, and you'd expect them to, but I keep saying it, repeating it, because there's so much space in the back of the pitch. Use that kick into an attacking kick, try and regain the ball.
It's Duncan Taylor who's gone down injured.
Tackle,
didn't look good.
All release.
He might well need to be reviewed in terms of a head injury.
Hill, Williams. This is Mitch Lees, who's been with us for a while, and who replaced Jeff Parling after 10 minutes. Waldron got it away quickly, if not entirely accurately, and it needed to be tidied up by Witten.
Choke tackle. They need some power coming in, which they get. Really good reaction play from the Exeter forwards. Oh, that is fantastic. Skelton thought he'd got the
There's a penalty.
choke tackle.
Ian Tempest called tackle quite late, which was a little bit harsh. You called it quite quickly. It looked like a choke tackle for all money, but the moment Ian Tempest called a tackle, hands had to get out of there. I think Saracens will feel fairly aggrieved by that. Really good work from Will Skelton and the rest of his forwards.
Yeah, Skelton gets Exeter side, holds him up, and this is where the extra power comes in. Is that a maul already? I think the Saracens fans and the Saracens player would say yes, it is. Referee happy that it was just a carry. They never stopped.
Duncan Taylor hurt himself trying to tackle Jack Yendall.
22, head injury assessment.
Easing his way back into the season after a long-term ankle problem. This is his first game for 4 months, and he's off for the head injury assessment.
This makes it even more difficult. He's come onto the pitch as a winger. Ben Spencer's now going to come on the pitch whilst Duncan Taylor gets assessed. The working of the back of the pitch, you mentioned the work rate of Wigglesworth. Well, they've only got a full back and 2 scrum halves acting as 2 wingers now. It's going to make things very difficult for them.
The scrambling work of Saracens is there for us all to admire, even on a day when most things are going against them, and they've been down a man following that 10-minute red card for much of the match. They're making it so hard for Exeter. What an important kick this is for Stevenson. Straight down the middle, precisely what the Chiefs needed. And they stretch into a 7-point lead, and Tony Rowe, the man who's bankrolled this club from the Championship to the heady heights of where they are these days, is down with the players on the bench, watching and wondering.
They need to get their exit right here. There's no way they can give away 3 points now. Stay down here. because it will just lift Saracens immeasurably. They need to play field position and use that 7-point lead.
Use it!
Waldron will give it another blast. Stevenson's waiting. Leaves the clearing kick to Maunder. It was touched off a Saracen's hand, but Good gathers it anyway, and he escapes the clutches of Knoll, but not Johnson. And Saracens do have the penalty. It's not the easiest. It's on the angle. It'll be about 45 metres. And Chris Wiles is saying, let's push this towards the corner flag.
That's exactly what Alex Anderson's actually pointing as well. A really good opportunity, 7 points down. What a statement of intent this really is from Saracens. Just shows, regardless of who's on the pitch, who's out injured, red card or not, they back themselves at home.
I think that Saracens will be saying, let's make this a forwards battle, and Exeter will be saying the opposite, with the amount of Saracens backs that are off the field injured.
Not in the air.
Or removed because of the red card.
How many? 7. Full line.
Final score from Kingshead. Gloucester have beaten Worcester by 55 points to 19. 7 tries. Bristol looking as if they're getting points out the Gardens. Another very troubling day for the Warriors at the bottom of the Premiership.
Wiles adds his weight. Barrett's come in as well. Only 3 backs out in the midfield for Saracens. This is staying tight. Referee says it's still moving. He hasn't called once yet. The ball's at the back there for Wigglesworth. Just need to straighten and lose those white bodies. Penalty coming. Could be a yellow card.
Relax.
Easy, mate.
We don't need you. We don't need you. There we go. Thank you. Don't get a shirt on. Collapse all. Collapse all. No, it's not. Your man come in to rush in. Collapse them all.
Decision once more. Just to see what they can do from the throw-in.
Half a metre from the line. Half a metre. How many? Full line.
Going for a full line out there. Jamie George has all the options to choose from here.
See Wiles creeping forward, Wigglesworth as well into shot, ready to add their weight.
No, we have that again. We get the ball in quicker, keep the gap. So bigger gap, and we get the ball in quicker. I need the gap keeping as well, bit of both. Keep the gap, no, same ball.
Carl Rimmer amongst those Devonians doing what they can.
Okay, Jamie.
To snaffle this anyway.
Push Whitehead back, he's up before the ball's played. Whitehead on the line.
Jamie George, Maro Itoje, who will be busy with England over the next few months. This is the final Premiership game both will play for a while, looking to have an impact before they say their league farewells for a couple of months.
Still moving.
What a statement this would be. Itoje is in the driving seat here, as are Saracens over the line. What's Ian Tempest saying? Try! A man down for all but 10 minutes of this match. But you don't put Saracens on the canvas easily. The big blokes have rolled over for the score, and this contest is still on a knife edge.
Lamasatelli does an amazing job because it starts to slow. They set up well, the backs come in, sometimes they can get in the way. Barrett's got good height, they get a little bit high here, but watch Lamasatelli back off and then get really good height as he snaffles the ball to the back. And then he just stays in behind, he's patient, his body height's good. Good does a really good job of helping him over the line. Great, patient, well-worked try from the Saracens.
A little over 5 minutes to go. And the giant-sized Americans try, offering Lazowski the chance to square things up. You only admire them. Look at the score. 5 left, 13 apiece.
What an exciting 5 minutes we've got left. Lamasatane, as you mentioned there, Good comes in adding his weight, setting this right up. It's amazing the spirit here. The team, it is a team effort. Richard Barrington cheering louder than any, because his mates have put in an almighty shift and given them a chance.
Does that sting Exeter back into life now? Up to now, maybe they've been playing not to lose this game. Now they've got to go out and win it.
Well, if you're new to this match, if you missed the kick-off, you can watch it all again on our highlights programme, BT Sport 2, tonight at 10 o'clock. All 5 games in the Aviva Premiership so far this weekend, and we'll be at the Rico tomorrow for another humdinger, we hope. Closing on another 30,000 crowd in Coventry as Berger went a little bit high, and that might need checking.
I think Berger looked towards the touchline there. He's a bit worried about that.
Taken by Alex Good.
Time off. Nothing there, lands Folio. Attention. Time off, Eric. No, it's going to be Saracens' ball.
Tempo, what are you then? I'm just reviewing potential foul play.
We're going to have another look at this.
Well, it's another one where the outside man
drops
drops his height, but does he go low enough on a dipping player? Yes. For me, he's underneath the head there. Does he ride up into it? It's almost past him before he... It's a tough call. Is there an arm wrapped? I suppose that would be your question. Does he wrap his left arm around? No, it's underneath a little bit.
Jack Yendall, who takes it in.
What do you think, Hoogs?
Yeah.
I can't be sure that left arm's going to wrap,
much of an arm,
because the Exeter player cuts in front of him. Unless we can show me a conclusive angle.
Can I show you one more angle?
Yeah.
Conversation between Ian Tempest and Sean Davey in our truck.
Actually, this is the last angle.
Sean, I'm not seeing that as a penalty personally.
That's not clear enough,
Is that okay?
Yeah.
So I'm going to restart from scrum to black.
Yeah.
It's not clear that he hasn't grasped to scrum. So here's scrum, black ball.
So let's round up what are now final scores in the other 3 o'clock kickoffs. And Northampton have won a Myler penalty and a Harry Mallander drop goal late on, securing the win, but Bristol with another losing bonus point. They keep picking up points, and a big point that will be. Denny Solomona has scored his second try for Sale at the Stoop, and they are within 3 points now of Quinn. Still a few minutes to go in southwest London, and confirmation of the score from King's Home that Gloucester walloping Worcester. Worcester picking up nothing, so Bristol are within now a point of Worcester at the bottom. Worcester 14 points, Bristol 13.
I obviously need you closer.
Second half of the season we have at the bottom in terms of relegation.
I need him closer. Okay, same ball.
Tempo, right eight, slingshot again there.
Getting the scrum, that penalty's going away. Don't slingshot.
Thomas Waldron just being warned that he has to bind on right from the start of this scrum. He can't slingshot his way in to add a little bit more power.
Crouch. Bind.
2.5 minutes to go.
Set.
Just from a Saracens perspective, you don't want to give away a penalty here. Probably they've lost the ball. They've lost the ball.
And Waldron has it. First scrum against the head in the match. How significant might it be? Here goes Lees.
I'll tell you what, Exeter, if they can control this ball, just keep it in the centre of the pitch. Steenson, who's back in the pocket for a drop goal.
Oh, it might be a little bit too soon, but Steenson's gone for it. And he gave it a welly, but he lost direction. They went for that very, very quickly.
Right.
You've still got 2 minutes left on the clock. Why rush it? Just need another couple of hit-ups just to... I mean, from outside the 10-metre line, that is a long way to keep the accuracy. Backed himself. Will it come back to haunt him?
Full-time score now from the Stoop. Harlequins have won 29-26, but a bonus point in defeat for Sale. There's Waldron. Trucks it up again, as will Yendall. Brad Barrett cleared away. And Witten, and having worked so hard, Saracens, to get themselves back into this match, to at least it seems to have earned a share of the points. And now trying to hold on to that position. Approaching the final minute of what's been an absorbing contest. Tone set by Richard Barrington's red card after 10 minutes. Here's Johnson. Waldron's waiting, and accelerating as much as he can.
Tackle!
Vincent got the ball away, and Jamie George fell on it.
I don't know whether he heard the referee say tackle and rip, which meant he could place it back, but it was a big gamble. They get away with it.
Fascinating to see how Saracens play out this final 30 seconds. You don't get the sense that they'll be kicking it out of play. I don't think they've settled for the draw just yet. We'll find out over the next 30 seconds.
No, definitely not. Back to the power play from the forward to go from side to side. Wigglesworth being incredibly vocal. Skelton offered himself once again.
They'll miss Marcelo Bosch's long-range boot, though, won't they? If they could just get over the halfway, that was within his range. It's a bit far for Lazowski.
Well, in the end, Richard Wigglesworth says we'll take the draw, because in reality it feels a little bit like a win, and the draw will feel a little bit like a defeat for Exeter. They played for 70 minutes with an extra man after the red carding of Richard Barrington for the hit on Jeff Parling. Jack Knoll very quickly put the Chiefs ahead, but in the end Titi Lamasatele's converted try means that it's a share of the spoils. The champions 13, the Chiefs 13. That's a contest that'll live for a while in the memory.
Well, yeah, fantastic performance, and for me it was driven by Richard Wigglesworth. When they went down, his game management, letting the forwards pick and go from the base, deciding when he wanted it. His work rate in that back three with Alex Good was superb. He's my Aviva man of the match. And for me, this, for Saracens, will feel like one of the biggest results of the season, and they will feed off this as a notion that they are never beaten.
No, absolutely, but Wasps will look at this result and say we can stretch our lead at the top if we beat Leicester at the Ricoh tomorrow. The champions have been held to a draw, but that's only half the story. 13 points apiece. We'll start the roundup shortly.